And we are back. It is Tuesday the 13th of May. Early access has been active since last week. Didn't stream Sunday or Monday. So technically, I think that was 4 and 5. So I think this is technically day 6 of early access. But we had an update this morning. As you can see, we now have a reset character button. And before I jump in any further, I'm Farley. Welcome to AdAstraDraconis. That's the name of my channel. You can call me Farley, or you can call me AstraDraconis, either or. Farley is typically the online name I go by, so I will probably respond most often to that. This is the early access game, Equinox Homecoming. It's being pitched as a sort of horse game MMO, which is more a murder mystery, returning home to solve a mystery that happens to feature a lot of horses, horse riding, interactivity, that sort of thing. It's pitched as an MMO. It's kind of MMO light, has a lot of online elements for interacting with other players. It is a very early access game. As the dev team have said, they want to develop it alongside the prospective players to make the best game they can. And one of the bits of feedback they had since the start of the early access, and especially over the weekend, was people weren't happy with how their character looked in-game versus in the character generator, and the same went for the horses, and they wanted the option to change it. That wasn't immediately available, but they did some work yesterday, and then this morning they did a patch to provide a reset character option. Now, this resets the character generation, and it resets the horse, so you can set all that up again, and it resets the quest line, but it does not reset any previous progress if you were already playing, in terms of reputations, of items you've obtained, items you've gathered, that sort of thing. If you've already done a bunch of things to get your rep up, that's saved. That won't reset. There will be wipes at a later time. Some of that is just because you need a fresh refresh. But as of this build, which is version 1.3, and we'll go by the sort of the last few numbers of 11222Z, I'm not going to do a reset because I'm actually quite happy with how my character looked, how my horse looked. That might change when I log in. I don't know what's been updated over the last couple of days. I haven't had a lot of time to play. But let's log in and see what's going on. Now, because I've finished the main quest, I'll only have really some weekly tasks to do. And that's fine. The things I want to look at today are probably like more riding around, looking at some of the other available quests I hadn't touched yet to compare them to ones from last week or over the weekend. And I want to mess around on the horse. I might go in and do a British Riding Club walk and trot test that I have not done in literal years, and I think there's even been a few updates to it since I last was a horse girl in my youth. So we'll see. But yeah, for now, let's just take a quick look at the character. Let's look at the gear. Alright, my level hasn't changed. The name of my horse hasn't changed. I know that has been brought up. Completing tasks didn't give the appropriate gold alders. This has been fixed. However, there now seems to be an issue where any task is giving gold when it shouldn't be. Since it's early access and you can't actually spend that on anything right now, that's fine. But they are aware of what's causing it, I believe. It's on the known issues list. Another known issue is with the larger character model. There's still issues with the different clothing. This is not meant to be happening. The clothing rig is meant to adjust with the character model, and that is currently not happening. This is a known issue, and it's being worked on. So hopefully we'll have an update on that very soon. But we haven't been forgotten. It's not being ignored. As for my horse, I know looks fine here, albeit a bit dark because it seems to be turning nighttime in game, and we're also in the barn. But I didn't really have too many issues aside from the markings looking a little bit on the orangey side. I believe that's being looked at, but it's a little harder to pin down. So just quickly going back to gear. Yeah, so my horse is hungry and thirsty and needs a groom. So we're going to do that first. Let's give you a groom. Alright. One thing I will say is it looks like the issues I was having with my character model looked to have been addressed a bit. She looks... with the initial launch, her face was looking very kind of Play-Doh-y, plastic-y, plain. The hair is still a little stringy, but overall, this is looking much better. That might change once I actually start going around and interacting with people. We'll see. In the barn looks to be a sort of a phased area where it's only you and your horse. Now, one thing I will say is on this menu, obviously you've got your equipment, feed, brush, we'll give water, pick hooves. I kind of feel like food and water should be on one side and brush and hoof picking should be on the other. Excuse me. Just, it makes a bit more sense. Just in the layout, like one side's dedicated to watering and feeding your animal, the other side is for tending it directly, and then you have obviously the equipment at the top. So I'm probably going to give a bit of feedback on that, both through the game and also on Discord. But right, give him a bit of water. Alright, muzzle's still clipping into the bucket. Hopefully that'll get fixed very soon in a near update. So just quickly... Oop. Right, so all of those stats are 300. Hunger, one thing I saw when I was last streaming is different items, different food items, that is, give different amounts of sort of food back. So apples and carrots give a lot less than hay. So we're going to give a bit of hay. It's a little unclear if my horse was getting some XP from that or not, but let's have a look. Yeah, so he's at 300, his level's now 17, so evidently they really like the food. And all my stats now are extremely basic. So put that shirt on. So equipment. So currently we've got the basic bridle, blanket baby pad, and English saddle brown. It is a new week. Let's see. Right, so I've got 1 race there, 2, 3, all the way up there. I did do a race yesterday. I was offline, just testing a few things after updating my drivers. So that's why there's 1 less on the map. But currently, for some reason, the weekly races aren't being counted, or at least one of them wasn't. So there are that, I believe that is known about, but I'm still going to run some today just to test to see what's going on. One nice thing to note is there are actually a couple of fan resources being introduced. Several of them are linked on the official Discord, the community Discord, where folks have done maps of the area and identified where certain items are, and which is really cool. And I'm just going to check for one now because I'd like to check where some dryad saddle mushrooms are. It's been a couple of days, so I don't quite remember where to look. So pardon the fact the game goes silent. I haven't been able to figure out how to keep the sound on while I'm tabbed to something else. Newbie streamer things, you right? Okay, it looks like we'll want to be heading up to the north here. Roughly around here, apparently, is where I want to look for those. So first, let's go get one of those races. This is a new building already, because this was empty yesterday. So they've been patching in some new things. So this looks like maybe a stall for newly arrived animals, or new horses, or even just general storage. But the look of it makes me personally think it looks more suited to animals than not. I could be wrong though, and I'm happy to be. I'm sure that they'll fill that in as time goes on. But it's always fun to take a look around and see what's been newly added. Whether it's by hotfix or by a full patch. Alright, I don't know what that sound effect was. Alright, so we got one race down here by the tavern, and then one race that's next to the equestrian center. So I'm going to go do the tavern one first, because why not? So please excuse any coughing. It's really dry today. We've had some gorgeous weather. Yeah, let's start the race. So I'm guessing as time goes on, there'll be some improved stats that you can get both for this horse and for any new horses you purchase in future. Leveling them up, training them, giving them different foods. I'm sure that's all going to play a part. But it's interesting to see how fast the stamina comes back, particularly when you're racing. Now, apparently there was a bug where people could get stuck in permanent sprint on certain races, which I wish that had been me. That would have been really fun. But currently there isn't a menu option to turn off the sort of motion blur. There has been feedback on that, as some folks find that makes them nauseous. Some just prefer to have it without. So off we go. What's nice is this will take me in the general direction of my actual destination. That right there was an example of... Oh, am I going the wrong way? Nope, this is the right way. I'll know that for next time, which means that I'll be able to trim a bit of time with running that. Like, I think that's going to be a key thing as well, learning the paths, being able to turn a bit, turn on a dime, so a bit more agility on your horse is going to help. Higher control, better riding skill. Yeah, so I'm not particularly high on the scoreboard for that one. Not surprised. Not offended. Not upset, that is. Alright, so we want to go back up that way. Got a couple more puppies over here. Not so much going too fast as if you pass it and you don't get the interact button to show the name of the item, the game won't let you actually pick it, so that's a little annoying. Ooh, more ruins. Ruins that are in no way suspicious. Can't walk over those, okay. And I'm sure we'll not have anything plot relevant related to them at all later on in the game. Wink wink, say no more. So I'm over here. I want to head back over here. Oh, that was a bit odd. I know a lot of the collectible items aren't super useful yet. Most are going to be saved for the next chapter. But there are a couple of quests that will require them for turning. Like you can see here, I need 3 more Dryad Saddle Mushrooms. Because those will be turned in to the cafe or to the tavern. Since they'll be used for soup. But there are also going to be other items that you need to collect along the way. That sort of thing. And then some people collect things, like we know a couple of characters like seagull feathers or raven feathers, some like flowers. couple of the characters will then give you rep if you turn those into them. However, I know at least one character is reported as bugged at the moment in regards to those turn-ins, which happens with early access. That's what we're here for, to catch that. And also to let them know, like, I don't really enjoy this kind of turn-in. Is there something we can do to change it? Or do we want to see other benefits for certain characters? I think this is meant to be a carrot. It wasn't going that fast over it, but it still didn't register. Yeah, there we go. So we've got a number of carrots along here. And this is the Abbott Mine. Place that made Heather's family their money. Let's give me more sulfur. Yep. So if anyone's watching at the moment and has any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Otherwise, I'm very happy to have you here lurking away. It's fun to explore. Just see what areas you can and can't get around in the terrain. Because there's some that are a bit restricted. Which is understandable. You don't want horses careering off cliffs, as an example. But at the same time, that's kind of fun. Let us do the thing, please. Alright. So we know that's one of the weekly tasks. You can check the tasks by clicking Y, or rather the goals. Right, so that race did count towards that. So it looks like whatever issue was going on with the weekly races after the weekly reset has been fixed. Hopefully. Tap wood, it stays that way. So need to collect 9 more of the molasses mushrooms, which are the ones on the ground. And finish at least 4 weekly quests given by the villagers. It's got blackberries around here. There's a mushroom. This will be an antler. I will say there's some really nice Foley work, particularly for the horses walking on different terrain. Even in the woods here, like stepping on the stone, stepping on the different grass, stepping on the dirt. It all has slightly different sound effects, which I really appreciate. Doesn't seem to let me walk over that, so I'll probably have to report that. Certain angles does not like. There's always funky bits of terrain, stuff like that as you play. can see inside the tree. Alright, 3 more mushrooms and we're good. Now, one thing I like about this is it's just collect it. You don't necessarily have to turn it in or use it for anything. You just have to collect over 7 days. Not too many. Very simple. And it doesn't take that long. And honestly, if you're out riding, it's nicely scenic. I can think of worse tasks to be doing in other MMOs. Alright, that didn't let me pick up the deer antler, which is a little annoying. There do look to be some inconsistencies with the recognition and targeting. So I might sort of put a bit of feedback in it that's just a little inconsistent. It depends on the speed you approach it, the angle you approach it, whether or not your camera seems to show the name or not. Because no name, no collection. I do find I don't have a lot to say this evening, so there may be some quiet stretches today. Ooh, eagle feather. Didn't have one of those before. I am told, or rather I was reading in the Discord, that a few areas that were lacking trees have had those returned. It looked like some stuff either got removed by mistake during a patch, or were getting reseeded with new trees, changing the trail slightly. It's hard to say. Oh, give me those delphiniums. Come on, game. Thank you. And the poppies. There's another mushroom. It's got poppy, mushroom, antler. Huzzah! And then... So I received 20 gold atlas just for completing the week quest, but also because it was a weekly thing. Got 100 and 400 silver souls. So those are correctly getting added there. Thank goodness. Ooh, spooky cabin in the woods. Or it might just be Kyle's house, because, you know, the ranger station is over there. I guess you don't want to live directly on top of all the things you work with. And because we're nosy, let's see what our good buddy has in his house. Not a whole lot, it turns out. So we've got a fireplace, which has got lighting in it to indicate there's going to be a fire there at some point. Side table, a radio, a teacup. Very flat bed. A wardrobe. I'm guessing that's a coat rack. Or a tool rack. A bin. Bare minimum. Bear with me one moment. I just need to go answer the door. Thank you for your patience there. Just my neighbor. Nothing too serious. I believe the dryad saddle mushrooms are going to be on the left side. Ooh, let's grab these. I think this is another area where there's a sudden lack of trees. They're going to have to come back in. There doesn't seem any reason for it to be super dark around where the ranger station is, and then suddenly nothing. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I believe it's going to be over on the west side of the island, so left side of the map. Oh. Okay. Could always use a few more blackberries. Alright, no leaping off the side of the ridge road for me. So there's no shortcuts to study for when you're racing. Is that one? Ooh, potentially. No. Looks like a shortcut. It's a fake. Oh. Come on, horsey. It's always fun to see how stuck you can get. There we go. Okay, these bits feel like you should be able to at least go down them even if you can't go up. So there might be something to feedback. It's just inconsistent enough to be really annoying. Alright, now we're on the right side of the island to find the mushrooms I'm after. They're gonna be on the trees, so I'll likely need to slow down a bit soon. Although, that said... I might turn around and go back up there. Yeah. Oh. Okay, I like that. There's a clear path for the horses to go down, and also one side that's clearly for human safety. Although I did notice there's not really any roads to drive on and off the island, but there are a couple of rusted cars and things, which makes me think brought in by train? Obviously some of the equipment would have to come in somehow. But even with all these newfound modern items, all this technology to improve life, the horse is still the best way to get around on an island like this, it seems like. Or close enough. Undying woods, which is distinctly lacking in living trees, apparently. So I'm guessing probably more trees will be appearing along here. A lot more silver looking as well. Ah, here we go. Oh. Did I walk into an invisible tree, maybe? Got another race course there. Another racetrack, rather. Another set of ruins. One more of those. I think that tree there has some. So we've got to deliver those back to Maya. And then if we look on the map, it's probably going to be faster. Yeah, so one of those refreshed. So there's at least 3. Oh, no, all 4 are showing now. So doing one earlier forced a refresh of all the weeklies. That's where the turn-in is. I'm gonna take us back to the barn. And go from there. Now, I have seen some very, very funny images of folks riding their horse into the tavern. Shout out to all the riding clubs who've been getting together over the weekend for that sort of nonsense. It's very funny. Sorry I didn't join you myself. Time zones are kind of a thing. Alex! Those mushrooms will make our famous signature dish. Here, take your reward. You should also come and try it. See you, Maya. Alright, let's see. So people... So downtown rep looks to have gone up again. Now, by all accounts, Lewis is kind of useless. And we should give all our support to Kathy. Don't know what he's done, but there's stuff implied in the lore. Also, as just a design note, I like how the jeans are very clearly worn sort of between the thighs, around the back, sort of really representing where someone who has been riding or been really wearing out an old pair of jeans would show the most wear. Which I also think does rather reflect on the fact that Alex kind of emphasizes that she doesn't have a lot of money. Her family definitely doesn't seem to have a lot of money. They are quite literally come from the wrong side of the tracks. But everyone, certainly islanders, seem to look out for one another. And her friends, though she has, and their families have looked out for her. Even when her mother has not been the best of mothers. Alright, I walked right into that sunflower and it did not want to know. There we go. Alright, so one of the things I said I wanted to do is actually go up to the equestrian center over here. We'll do the race a little bit, but first... we have a massive equestrian center that apparently hosts a lot of riding events. All I can think is, it looks amazing. Like, I genuinely think that this might be sort of Olympic length rather than standard riding school length. Both which benefits riding instruction. It means you can have at least 2 classes going at once, depending on the experience of the riders in question. You might have a sort of a larger class with lots of ponies. You might have some older student classes, intermediate riders, and some adult classes as well will probably take up like maybe 2 groups, but with fewer horses. It really depends. Like, I know what I remember from when I used to ride. Many, many, many years ago. Alright, let's we'll say that A is the entrance down here. C is at the top there to the north. Let's see if I can do any of the old dressage tests. Oh. Well, that would have been a flub note on the walk and trot test, that's for sure. That definitely didn't go far enough. I think I'm thinking in terms of a much smaller riding ring for the dressage test I have in mind. And that's okay. Okay, not sure what's going on there with the sound effect, but there... I don't know if it's a case of just being in certain areas, or... Oh, I think I know what this sound is. It sounds like I can hear someone doing some grooming over in the other barn, where some of the sort of the quest horses are. So I'm probably going to give some feedback on that, because there's no reason for me to hear those sound effects. Yeah, one of these days I will look up a proper full-on dressage test and I'll do it properly in the arena. I know where I can look up a couple of the British Riding Club. Or is it British Riding Society? It's one or the other. you get pony clubs and riding clubs. So it's then the British Horse Society does the examinations. At least that's what I grew up with. I think it's something a little different in the States. I could be wrong. And I think the Irish riding club, I think it's an Irish Pony Club for younger students. It's literally been years. I don't remember. Okay, it does look like they fixed the issue where lots of players being online would cause the races to cancel. Thank goodness, because that was getting really annoying. Or not. That looked like a lag glitch. That's rather annoying. I was doing rather well there. Yeah, I can't tell if... That doesn't seem to be my connection, because nothing else is glitching. This one's quite a long race. Interesting. Alright, so I went faster previously. Not surprised, really. That did feel like there was something going on glitch-wise. So let's finish that. So why? That's 2 out of 5 races. Okay. So that's 1 race that wasn't being counted, but okay. Let's do the radio tower race. See where this goes. Okay, those rocks definitely are in the way to screw up your run. Could I restart? Yes. Do I want to? No, not really. Oop. That's on me. I am colliding with the sign. So that's an example of when they said you can't really turn very well when sprinting. Sorry for the pauses between words. Like, part of my concentration is just really focused on paying attention to the race. That tends to stopper some of my words being spoken at the same time. Until talking to Twitch, or certainly talking to chat, is a bit of a learned skill, so I'm not going to worry too much about it, but if anyone was wondering, that's it. Oh, I got a bronze. That's not bad. That wasn't a weekly quest, so that won't count to the timer. Let's go back to the barn. Right, so gear-wise. Okay, interesting. The more I ride, the more that seems to increase that stat more than anything else. And then you can see a little bit of the hunger and thirst as a condition of my horses started decreasing. As mentioned before, but for anyone who isn't aware, this will slowly decrease throughout the day. It will also decrease while you're offline, and that's completely okay. Your horse will not feel any in-game negative effects or hitting 0. And next time you're on, you can just feed them up. It'll refresh everything for you. But it's usually a good idea to treat your horse well, you know? And there's probably going to be benefits for that down the line. So Tig here is all settled in. There's nothing really new in the barn. And I think it's not been a very long stream, but I'm going to call it there. There haven't been too many updates in the game that I did something extra new, but I'll tune in again tomorrow. So I'll have a stream at about 7:30. What we'll do is we'll look at some of the weekly quests, that our people around the island are offering. And I'm also going to take a look in the journal at Kendra, that's your character Alex's mother. Look at her journal. There's a bunch of images with ciphertext on it. I know that this has been investigated and translated on the official community Discord. I have not looked at any of those translations. I kind of want to try and figure it out for myself. Will I succeed? Probably not. But I'd like to give it a try. Folks are welcome to join in while I'm doing that. So take care of yourselves and have a good night.